My name is Andy Bentley. Now, the Commander's Forge is an area for me to talk about Commander, Magic, and just things in general that I enjoy. Or don't enjoy. And that's where today's going to start. I am not a fan of Strixhaven. And this kind of stems from... This is supposed to be, the quote-unquote wizard school. And I understand not everything can be a wizard. So they have it broken down from the different colleges. So like Silverquill, its primary creature type is Warlock. But what really gets me is the Prismari creature type. Their primary creature type in the red-blue school is not wizard. It is shaman. That annoys me to no end because red and blue are the traditional wizard colors. And that right there kind of set the whole mood for the set for me. Don't get me wrong. I like the Mystic Archive stuff. Probably going to pick up a bunch of those. And I'll pick up a few singles. Like last week I talked about things that I want for Yumori. But overall, I am severely underwhelmed by Strixhaven. It just doesn't scratch the itch for me, if you get my drift. And to top it off, I'm not even that big of a fan of the commander decks that are coming out with it. I am not a fan of tying the main commander release to a set. I get why they do it, but it just, I feel like it limits what you can do with the commander set, and that just kind of irks me. Now, again, there are parts of it that I like. Don't get me wrong, I think Lorehold is amazing because it takes Boros in a completely different direction. It's not just, hey, attack. And it's nice seeing the green-black is more life gain based and like life manipulation based. It's just, I don't know. The green-blue just didn't do it for me, and the white-black is fun. It's a little off of what like Orzhov is, but doing fun stuff. I'm not I am not hype for this set at all. I'm probably gonna just pick up a couple of singles and not even gonna bother buying a box to save to draft. Like, I don't want it. And it takes a lot for me to not want a set. And I mean a lot. Like, I love Magic, and I love cracking packs, and I love buying singles, and it takes a lot for me not to want to buy packs. Just my thoughts on Strixhaven, because other people might be more hyped for it. It's not my cup of tea. Alright, we'll kick this to a ad, and then we'll come back, and I will talk about the few cards that are coming out in the Commander set that I would like. And yeah, we'll be right back. Hi. If you haven't heard about Anchor, let me tell you some of the reasons why I started using it. For one, it's free. There's no subscription fee. You don't have to pay for anything. Second, it gives you all of the editing software you need for everything you're going to do. Beyond that, it helps distribute your podcast to so many different places, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. It's amazing. Not only that, but they offer to sponsor you. Right there. That's it. Just by recording podcasts, they will pay you based on the number of listens it gets. It brings everything you need into one place. And if you want to try it out, you can download their app, or you can go to Anchor.fm to get started. Now back to the episode. Alright, welcome back. Now, I'm going to talk about a few cards from the Commander set tied to Strixhaven that I would like to get, but I will most likely not be getting many of the pre-constructed decks. I might pick up one, possibly two. That said, the first card in this list is Viren, Voice of Duality. Viren, Voice of Duality is an Efreet wizard. It's a 2/2 for 1, a red, and a blue. It has Magecraft, so whenever you cast an instant or sorcery or copy a spell, Viren, Voice of Duality gets +1/+1 till end of turn. But then it says, if you casting or copying an instant or sorcery spell causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. See, this is what I wanted from Strixhaven. I wanted wizards that I could use to enhance my Adeliz wizard tribal deck. That is what this card does. And it's the only card that really does this. Because what this does is, one, it's not super expensive and I can afford a 3-drop in that deck. 2, its own Magecraft ability is a triggered ability, which means when it gets +1/+1, it's actually going to get +2/+2 by itself. And Adeliz's triggered ability will get doubled if this is out, which means for every instant or sorcery that you cast, all of your creatures are going to get +2/+2. This is what I wanted from Strixhaven. It has everything that Adeliz wanted. And it's a wizard in blue and red. I'm sorry, I'm still salty about this set. Moving on to the next card. We have Alabu, Ancient Witness. It's a 4/5 golem for 3, a red, and a white. It says, other artifact creatures you control have haste, and whenever one or more artifact creatures you control attacks, Alabu, Ancient Witness deals X damage to any target, and you scry X, where X is the number of tapped artifacts you control. I'm not looking to build a deck around this, but this has inspired me to change a deck that was banned into Naya. Let me elaborate. It was a banned golem list where basically all we were doing was trying to flicker all of the artificers that made golems, and instead we're going to swap out Ishai for either of the Boros partner commanders, and we'll drop blue and pick up red. That's basically all there is to it. The main goal of that deck is to get as many golems out as possible. And there's actually a golem in the set that I also want to talk about, and that is Triplicate Titan, which is a 9/9 golem for 9. It has flying, vigilance, and trample. And when it dies, you create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token with flying, a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature with vigilance, and a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token with trample. That's 9 mana for a 9/9 is fairly standard. But the fact that it turns into 3/3/3s when it dies is great. Now, that deck already runs the Phyrexian Triniform, which is a 9/9 for 9 that when it dies creates 3/3/3 colorless golem artifact creature tokens. Now, this may not have the ability words like the Titan does, but it has an encore ability, so you can actually get it back from your graveyard and do it again. I feel like if you can go like one turn play one of these and then the next turn play the other one and have 18 power of creatures on board, forcing somebody to be like, yeah, I'm going to board wipe, but you're still left with 18 power on the board, and then you can bring back a 9/9 on top of that. Yeah. I'm going to end up doing some stupid stuff with this deck, even with it losing blue. I think the only thing I really am going to regret losing is the Academy Ruins. But, we'll figure it out. And the next card that I'm looking at also goes into that deck. It's Wake the Past. It's a sorcery for 5, a red and a white. So yes, it's 7 mana sorcery, but it says return all artifact cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until end of turn. So part of the deck that I'm looking to update, the commander that's giving us access to green is it's Techic Salvage Splicer. And whenever an artifact hits our graveyard, we put a +1/+1 counter on him and each golem we control. So let's say we have 12 artifact creatures and a sack outlet. Particularly one that makes mana like, We sack everything, make a ton of mana, play Wake the Past, bring them all back. All of the golem tokens that we've made along the way are going to be massive. But also, say we had sacked the Triniform and the Titan, and we now have all of those. And then on top of that, we just bring back 2 9/9s with trample. One has trample, and we give them both haste. I don't think it's going to be a great deck, but it's going to do stupid stuff, and I like doing stupid stuff. There's not a whole lot left to say about that deck. It's going to end up being, I'm going to say like a middle power level tier deck. It's not going to be amazing. It's not going to be terrible. Its mana might be a little wonky, but that's fine. I don't know. I feel like it's just going to be a fun deck to play. Now, the next card I'm looking at is actually a white-black card. It is Ink Shield. It's an instant for 3 white-black. And it says, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you this turn. For each 1 damage prevented this way, create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. I don't know where I want to put that card yet. I just know it's something that I'm excited for, because my decks tend to draw a lot of hate for no other reason than the fact that I like to play aggro decks, and people don't like aggro decks because aggro decks tend to be, aggressive. So if I could have an Ink Shield in one of those, when they go to Alpha Strike me with 40 damage, I Ink Shield, I now have 80 damage to return a crackback. It just, I see where we could use this card just to save ourselves and be like, you know what, I can't afford to take that 10 damage, and I will make 20 power. And I can see the reverse effect where it's like, we've been gaining life, people are like throwing everything at us, and eventually somebody thinks they have us and they try and throw their commander at us for commander damage with, 21 power, and we just Ink Shield it and then come out with, 42 damage the next turn. It's not my top pick for cards from the set, and I'm not entirely sure where I want to put it. But I think it's probably going to be a one of those cards that eventually the price just kind of spikes because it's going to be useful in a lot of decks. But you never know. I could be wrong. I'm not a finance guy. Alright, next we have Revival Experiment, which is a sorcery for 4, a black and a green. And it says, for each permanent type, return up to 1 card of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield. You lose 3 life for each card returned this way. Exile Revival Experiment. Similar to last week, where I eventually feel like I'm going to end up playing this is in my Yumori Planeswalker deck, because for 6 mana to bring back a Planeswalker, a land, and say they get rid of like the one other creature I play in the deck, or they get rid of Yumori, and I'm just like, okay, I'll bin them and then bring them back. Deck also runs a few enchantments. It's a regrow for a lot of types, but it also goes directly to the battlefield. It's not put them in your hand and then you have to recast them. It's no, this 6 mana and whatever multiple of 3 life that you pay covers that. You don't have to worry about trying to recast them. Who knows? Maybe you want to recast stuff. Well, in that case, you can run a regrow, or you can run anything that just returns cards from your graveyard to your hand. Alright, and the last card that I want to talk about is Tempting Contract. It's a 4-mana artifact that says, at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent may create a treasure token. For each opponent who does, you create a treasure token. I like this in anything that's not running green, basically. Sure, it's a little group huggy in that everyone gets the opportunity to make a treasure, but for every treasure they make, you make another one, which means you're not behind on how much you're making. So, say you have 3 opponents and they each make a treasure. It's not they each make a treasure and you make a treasure. No, it's for each one that makes a treasure, you make a treasure. So it's not a 1-to-3, it's a 3-to-3 ratio. They each end up with 1 and you end up with 3. Now, I understand some people don't like giving their opponents anything, and that's, fine. But I can think of several mono white decks that are going to be more than happy to run this card. And that's really all there is to it. Now, if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, consider subscribing. Hit the like button. Hit the bell for notifications. And I will see you next time. That brings us to the end of the podcast. I would like to thank Nate and Erica Jacobs for designing my logo, and Cody Mulpey and Ian Foss for allowing me to use a sample of music from their band, The Crypt. The podcast can be found on YouTube by searching Commander's Forge. The podcast is Commander's Forge, that is CMDR_Forge on Twitter. I can be found on Twitter at BentzMr, that is BENTZMR. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time, and until then, here's to fun games and sick plays.